in the wake of the corona pandemic, I thought we'd download some information, create some charts and graphs to help you get your way started onto learning about data science. On this segment, I like to call I Got the Data. I'm your host, JC, and this is BWIT TV. You show your shit that you might not know. Welcome, my friend, to the BWIT show. Hey, you guys come on up in here. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me today. I'm your host. I'm JC. This is BWIT TV, where we get all things open source. We like to touch on this and touch on that. And today, we were going to do our show today on some data science. Today, we're going to be utilizing Python and two Python modules, pandas and the matplotlib modules we're going to use to take some corona data, and we're going to create some graphs, some bar graphs that we can use to plot this data. Data science is getting pretty popular, and taking a look at data analytics and analyzing different forms of information and data sets is kind of exploding. It's been on the rise for the last several years, but I've been kind of diving and delving into this, and so I thought I'd show you kind of what I've been learning myself, and see if I can't pass on some of what I've been doing and some of the projects I've been working on. So stay with us. We're going to get started here. And I guess you might want to go ahead and get your Python environment. I'm not sure what you guys are running. I'll be running utilizing PyCharm. I'm not sure what kind of development environment you might be utilizing. I know a lot of people, Jupyter's pretty popular. You could utilize that. But if you are running PyCharm, or you want to download PyCharm, please do that, and then you can kind of follow along with what I'm doing as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get my environment loaded up real quick, and then we'll switch over and get started here, okay? All right, so bear with me here. Let me switch as soon as this gets loaded up here. Give me a second here. There we go, and all right, so let me switch. Bam. And bam. And bam. All right, here we go. So ignore this. This is something else I was trying to get together here. So I've got my PyCharm environment loaded up, and so to get started, what we're going to do is we're going to create a new file. That's not what I want to do. File. No. What did I do? Hold on. Now you want to create a new Python file. We're just going to call this, we'll call it Pandas Lab. You can call it whatever you want to get you going and started. just so I can follow along here. Bear with me here. Where's my... Here, boom. Did I not have it in here? Okay. No. See. Oh, yeah, it is. In here. Okay, so I'm gonna get our Pandas lab started. And I have a template that I'm kind of working off of. I have to get that loaded up here. So, so we're going to get started here. And I got the wrong thing loaded here. Let me... Where are you at here? Bear with me here. I think I got... that's it right there. That is it right here. Hold on. I'm sorry. Hold on. Always running into some issues here. Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Here. Close that. Let's do it my thing here. I'm having some, hold on, having a little technical challenge here. Why are you not opening up? Hold on. Hold on, folks. Okay. Here. All right. I think we're good. All right. So once you get your environment loaded up and you get your file created there, so you file new, go to Python file, hit that Python, create, type in your name. We just did Pandas Lab here. All right. So from there, we're going to go ahead and get started. There's a couple of modules I'm going to load up in order to. Oh, I guess I should first. I want to show you the data we're going to be using. So I want you guys to go. You can. Let me see here. So, all right. So in your browser, you want to go to www.ecdc.europa.eu. Let me see if I can maybe uh, put the I'll put a link in the description, or I'll post a link where you need to go here to find this data, at least the data that we're going to be working on today. So this is European Center for Disease Control and Disease Prevention and Control, and this actually has every day they have newly updated each and every single day. You can come here and they've got Excel files, CSV, JSON, XML, and some scripts for running like R software. You can go here. We're gonna be using the CSV file, comma separated value file. So you can come here, click download that, and that's the file we're going to be working on today. So, all right, now let's go back to our Python environment, our PyCharm environment. Okay. All right, so we've got our file created that we're going to be working on. Now, first thing you want to do is we're going to load up a few of the modules that we'll be working on and working with. So I'm going to put some comments in here so we'll know what's going on as we kind of moving down the pipe here. So these going to be import modules, and so we're going to import pandas as PD, import BWIT. You'll see what we'll be using that for, and we're going to import. Okay, we're going to import numpy as np. Import OS and import matplotlib. Plot as PLT. Alright, so these are the modules we're going to be working with. Okay, and we got some variables. I'm gonna go ahead and start putting in a couple of variables here. So this is stored variables. So we're gonna call this Covid. Covid data. Okay, and this is going to be this is essentially going to be a variable representing the path to where the CSV file that we're going to have here. So essentially you're going to put in your home path or location where this is, and if this is in the root directory, you put basically you're going to put wherever the path to that file is. So it's my path, and you can name the CSV, download it, and rename the CSV file whatever you want to name it. Okay, and I'm going to say, and the reason why I did this OS import is because I'm going to put in a little part that's going to check to make sure the file is there. Because what we'll do is we're going to set this so where we can download. It'll download the. We're going to use BWIT module to download our data file, so we don't have to kind of go back, re-download it every time. So we're going to say file exists equals os.path.exist. Sorry. .exist, and then we're going to put in that variable for where the CSV file is. So that's Covid data. So we're going to say Covid data. All right. So now we're going to put in we're going to create a variable for our URL. So let's say URL equals, and this is going to be the path to the site. So that site we were on, if you go and right click, so let me show you here. You go back and switch back over here. Okay, so you go back and then that site here, you go back, whatever one you want. If you go, just right click on it and say copy link address. Okay, and that'll actually give you the full HTTP link. All right. All right, so let's go ahead and move on back. So once you went to the site, you got that copied. So now we'll go ahead and we'll paste that in there. Give me a second here. Got this already copied, so copy. You'll come here, Control V. All right, so here's the URL straight to the file, CSV. So that is the link for our URL. All right, now we're going to, we need to read this. We need to use pandas. We're going to be reading the data. So we're going to create a variable to read the data here. And so let's call it, we'll say, I don't know, let's make up something here. Let's call it, just for the sake of anything, we'll call it Corona read, Corona data read equal, and this can be whatever you want, just a name for you. So, and then we'll say PD for our pandas. We're calling panda.read underscore CSV, and then we'll parentheses, and then now let's go ahead and in our parentheses we will say Covid. I got a date, don't I? That should be data. Let's change that. All right. Data and data. All right, so we've got that. So let's go in here. Let me put some things in here. So this is to check if CSV file exists. All right, got that. Then this is variable say web variable. Let's say web link to CSV file. Okay, and what do we got here? We have this is variable to read CSV data. All right, that's some stuff so you know, we kind of know what's going on. All right, so what we got next here, let's go ahead and we're going to create our data frame. Okay, we're going to call this and you can name this variables. That's what's unique, really unique with Python. You can, everything's kind of object oriented, so you can create, you know, name your variable what's something that's unique that you'll know what it is or what it's referencing. So we're going to call this df for data frame equals, and we're going to call pandas dot data frame, and this is going to encompass our corona data read. Okay, all right, so and now let's say print df. All right, so far what we've done, what we've got is we have we've got our link to the link. I've already downloaded this, but you're going to put this in once you've downloaded your data file, which here's the URL. You're going to create a variable linking to where the CSV file is. Okay, so just this is not, we're not quite complete, but just so I can show you what we're working with, you can see the data here. We're going to go ahead and run this right now. Okay, and you'll see where the URL will come in here. Some of this isn't going to come into play until we get more of the code in here. So right now we're going to, oh, that's the wrong one. All right, so stop all of that. All right, so let's simply do this. Run, to run this, simply right click open space area, and you'll see it says run. We're going to run our lab here. All right, so let me move that over. As you can see here, it's spit out. It's not very, you know, doesn't give you, some of the columns are it's not going to show you all the columns at right now. So you see there's 13,000 rows. As you can see here, there is oh, let me get my, hold on, let me get you over here to this screen here. I think bear with me. I want to show you the results here. So let me go here and doc and pinned. There we go. All right, so let me slide this up here. All right, so here are our results. As you can see here, there's 11 columns and 13, or no, one, is that 13? Yeah, 13,829 rows. So it won't display all, it'll display like the top head, look like the top head, the first 30 and the bottom 30. So as you can see here, there's a lot of duplicate information there. I'm going to go ahead, let me switch over, and I want to actually open up the CSV file so we can actually take a look at it, because this is going to determine how we actually want to take a look at the data itself. So you go to that CSV file. Here it is, Corona. Bear with me here. I'll switch over here in a second here. Let me let's go here. Give me a second here. I'm gonna add a window here for you. What is this? COVID right here. Okay. Right. All right. So, oh, sorry. Hold on. Let me make some adjustments here. Where are you at? What's going on? Let me. Okay. Boom, 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 and boom. There we go. All right. So as we're taking a look here, you guys are with me. Okay, there we go. So you can see here, I'm gonna highlight this top line here. Let me lock these in here so we'll freeze the first row here. So you guys can my view. I want to zoom in here so you guys can. Oh, that went the wrong way. Sorry about that. I'm sorry. All right, there we go. That's a little better. So here's our top row here. This is our column. Our columns here. We got date rep. We have day, month, year. We've got cases. We got deaths, countries and territories, GOID, country territory code, pop data 2018, and then continent EXP. I guess that's continent expression maybe of the continent, which is pretty cool. Okay. All right. So these are the series of data we got here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at our cases and death per country, and this is information we really want to take a look at. So let's go back to our coding page. All right, so we're here, and all right, so roll that down. We'll go here. All right, so we take a look. So what we want to do is there's a couple of columns that we wanted to capture out, and there's a few more I may add on because there's some data we want to take a look at. So what you want to do is right after your for DF, you got your data frame on Corona, in parentheses Corona data. So what you want to do is inside that parentheses bracket, right after Corona, the data read, hit comma, space, and we're going to say columns. See it populates there, hit enter, that's column, and we're going to say equal. Oh, equal's already there. So we're going to put this in brackets, and we'll say quotes. And so you're going to put in the columns that you want separated by a comma and within quotes. So I want that day and month, and what was that, cases, and cases, got deaths, right? Deaths. And the other one was countries and territories. All right, looks good. All right, so these are the columns that we want to focus on. So when you create your data frame, so after you put in the data read location, which is the CSV file, comma, and then your comma and equals, and then in brackets, square brackets here, you put in, it's almost like you're creating a list. So you got day, comma, separated, your comma separated values there. So representing the list. Now take a look now when we we'll print our data frame now. Sorry, let me scroll up, let me move this up. All right, so now if you take a look now, you see here up top, we have our index column. We've got our day column here. We've got our month column, and you can see all of that. We've got our cases, we've got deaths, and we've got our countries and territories. And that was an interesting one too. I think I'm gonna add I think that was continents. Let me make sure that's what that was. Continents. Oh, continent EXP. Let me add that. That was interesting. I didn't notice that before. We'll say comma continent EXP. All right. Let's take a look at that again. Interesting. I didn't notice that before. I want to include that in there. All right. Oh, there we go. Look at that. So now it's got it separated. You see, not only does it show the country, we have also continent. So add that and that. So and that let me show you this too. So if you do actually want to show, you want to get it to print all of the data, the rows and columns that you have, or at least the columns that you have printed out. Let me show you that. I'm gonna just have it saved over here. Let me drop it in here. So what you can do is you say PD dot set option is that one right there, and you want to go in quotes, in parentheses, and say now in quotes display dot max underscore rows. Move over, say comma, space, and you want that to be none. All right, so let's take a look at that now. We'll rerun this again. Bam. Gonna take a little time here. So now, let me see what we got here. As you can see now, it's showing us every row, all the rows here, all of them, all the rows here, all of them. See, it shows all the rows. So that's a good way if you wanted to spit out all of the rows. You can view all the rows of data there. So let's go ahead and move forward. All right, so we've got our data frame created. Let me go and I'm gonna omit that out because I don't want it to. That was just a little extra. We can come back and enable that later. All right, so now, all right, so that's been part one of our segment on I Got the Data. We've been starting to put together a data frame so we can plot out some of this COVID-19 data. So stay tuned, stay with me, join me back for part two, where we'll pick back up and start creating our start creating our functions in order to plot our information. I'm JC, I'm your host, and this is BWIT TV.